You feel the suffocating weight of a summer afternoon in California. It is July 4th, 1994. You are standing inside the massive concrete bowl of Stanford Stadium. More than 84,000 screaming fans are packed into the blinding, unforgiving sun. You watch a peculiar team step onto the scorching grass. They are wearing imitation denim jerseys covered in white stars. They are a ragtag collection of college players, indoor soccer veterans, and semi-professionals who do not even have a domestic league to play in. They are the United States men's national team. You watch them face the mighty Brazil, a team of global icons led by Romario and Bebeto. You see American midfielder Tab Ramos suffer a fractured skull from a brutal, swinging elbow by Leonardo. You watch the Americans defend with their lives, retreating deep into their own penalty area, surviving wave after wave of beautiful, terrifying Brazilian attacks. Eventually, they fall, 1-0. The final whistle blows. But as the players collapse on the turf, there is no shame. There is only a naive, beautiful optimism. They survived. They fought the giants and did not embarrass themselves. Just being on that pitch, just reaching the knockout stage of a FIFA World Cup, was viewed as a monumental, historic victory. For 30 years, this has been the psychological safety net of the United States, the comfortable, forgiving identity of the plucky, hard-working underdog. But in the summer of 2026, the rules of history will change. When the World Cup returns to American soil, expanded to a colossal, unprecedented 48 teams, under the direction of FIFA President Gianni Infantino, the ghosts of 1994 will no longer protect this program. They will haunt it. You are told that hosting the largest sporting event in human history is a blessing. You are told that this is the moment the United States finally joins the elite global hierarchy. But look closer at the tactical realities, the mathematical structure of the expanded tournament, and the crushing psychological expectations placed upon this specific group of players. You will see the counterintuitive truth. The 2026 World Cup is not a celebration for the host nation. It is a psychological trap. It is a structural nightmare designed to turn the greatest generation of American football talent into victims of their own hype. To understand this trap, you must first understand how the American footballing identity died and was reborn in trauma. You have to travel back to the humid, miserable night of October 10th, 2017. Cuba, Trinidad. The United States only needed a single point against the worst team in the qualifying group to secure a ticket to the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Instead, they played with an arrogant lethargy. They lost 2-1. They failed to qualify. It was an apocalyptic collapse that forced the entire American soccer ecosystem to burn itself to the ground. The old guard was violently pushed out. The era of relying on sheer athletic effort and gritty defensive grit was declared dead. From those ashes rose the golden generation. You know their names: Christian Pulisic at Chelsea and AC Milan, Weston McKennie at Juventus, Tyler Adams at RB Leipzig. For the first time in history, American players were not just making up the numbers on the rosters of obscure European clubs. They were starring in the UEFA Champions League. They were technically gifted, tactically educated in the finest academies in Germany and England, and brimming with a modern, unapologetic swagger. They were told they were the saviors. They were the chosen ones, tasked with erasing the humiliation of Cuba. When they arrived at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, managed by Greg Berhalter, they were desperate to prove they could play proactive, possession-based football against the world's best. But Qatar revealed the terrifying gap between having elite talent and having elite tactical maturity. You remember the round of 16 match against the Netherlands. You watched the young American team step onto the pitch full of energy, pressing high, eager to dominate the ball. But waiting for them on the opposing bench was Louis van Gaal, one of the most ruthless tactical minds in the history of the sport. Van Gaal did not fight the Americans for possession. He handed it to them. He set a trap. He organized his Dutch team in a patient, impenetrable block, inviting the American fullbacks, Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson, to push dangerously high up the pitch. And then, with terrifying precision, the Netherlands struck. A simple blindside run by Daley Blind, a calculated cutback by Denzel Dumfries, Memphis Depay exploiting the massive, empty spaces left behind the naive American press. The United States was systematically dismantled, losing 3-1. They had the talent, but they lacked the cynical, dark arts of tournament survival. Now, imagine that same pressure, but multiplied by a factor of 10. Imagine the summer of 2026. The United States is not flying to a quiet, isolated camp in the Middle East. They are playing at home. Every single television screen, every single billboard, every single newspaper will be screaming their names. The expectation is no longer just to participate. The expectation is to dominate. But the introduction of the 48-team format creates a mathematical labyrinth that makes deep tournament runs exponentially more difficult. In 1994, there were 24 teams. In 2002, when manager Bruce Arena miraculously led Landon Donovan and the United States to the quarterfinals, there were 32 teams. In those eras, surviving the group stage meant you were immediately in the round of 16. You were just one lucky victory away from the quarterfinals. The path was short. The margin for error was slim, but the finish line was always visible. In 2026, the structure changes entirely. 12 groups of 4. The top 2 advance, along with the 8 best third-place teams. For a seeded host nation like the United States, advancing from the group stage is no longer considered an achievement. It is the absolute, unquestionable, bare minimum. If they top their group, they do not advance to the round of 16. They advance to a brand new, physically punishing phase of the tournament, the round of 32. This is where the 48-team trap snaps shut on the host nation. To equal the achievement of the 2002 team and reach the quarterfinals, the modern golden generation must win not 1, but 2 consecutive knockout matches. They must survive the emotional roulette of single-elimination football twice, just to reach the final 8. Consider the tactical nightmare of the group stage. Because the expanded format allows 8 third-place teams to advance, the incentive for smaller, less talented nations to play open football is completely destroyed. When the United States plays their opening matches in Los Angeles or Seattle, they will not face teams looking to attack them. They will face obscure debutant nations who will deploy the lowest, most cynical defensive blocks ever seen in a World Cup. 11 men, parked permanently behind the ball. Time wasting from the 3rd minute. Faking injuries, breaking the rhythm of the game into 1,000 frustrating little pieces. You put yourself in the shoes of Christian Pulisic. You are wearing the captain's armband. It is the 45th minute of your opening World Cup match on home soil. The score is 0-0. The opposing team has completely suffocated the center of the pitch. You look up into the stands and see 80,000 expectant American fans. They are not cheering. They are getting anxious. They expected a coronation, a 4-0 demolition. The silence in the stadium slowly mutates into a nervous, heavy murmur. The psychological weight of the entire tournament begins to compress your chest. You try to force a pass. You try to dribble through 3 defenders. You lose the ball. The crowd groans. The anxiety spirals. This is the curse of being a heavy favorite in a 48-team tournament. The early matches are designed to frustrate you. They are designed to drain you emotionally and physically before the real tournament even begins. Historical sports science data tells us that navigating this new format will require an unprecedented level of physical endurance. To reach the semifinals, a team must play 6 matches in high summer North American heat. The travel distances between host cities like Miami, Vancouver, and Houston will disrupt circadian rhythms and impair muscle recovery. The United States possesses a brilliant starting 11, but World Cups are no longer won by 11 men. They are won by squads of 26. They are won by the depth of your substitutes. When Weston McKennie picks up a yellow card suspension, or when Tyler Adams suffers a hamstring strain in the agonizing heat of an extra-time match in the round of 32, the drop-off in talent could be fatal. The host nation will be fighting a war on 2 fronts. On the pitch, they must navigate a sprawling, chaotic bracket filled with desperate teams playing destructive football. Off the pitch, they must navigate the crushing, suffocating expectations of a nation that does not understand the nuances of the global game. The American public will not accept a tactical 0-0 draw against a lesser-known nation. They demand spectacle. They demand victory. If this golden generation fails to reach the quarterfinals, if they stumble in the new round of 32 against a highly organized European or South American opponent, they will be branded as failures. The ghosts of 1994 will return, not as fond memories of plucky underdogs, but as a cruel reminder of how much simpler things used to be. Back when nobody expected anything. Back when just wearing the shirt was enough. You feel the suffocating weight of a summer afternoon. It is June 2026. You are standing inside a massive, hyper-modern stadium. More than 80,000 screaming fans are packed into the stands. You watch a team of elite, Champions League-hardened professionals step onto the pristine grass. They are facing a tactical labyrinth that has been artificially elongated. The distance between the center circle and the penalty box is exactly the same as it was 32 years ago. But the burden they carry is infinitely heavier. They are trapped by their own talent. They are trapped by a tournament that has grown too large to control. And in the silence, just before the referee blows the whistle, you realize the terrifying truth. There are no more safety nets. There are no more excuses.